What's good people? Let's talk. How you guys doing out there? We got a special guest in front of the formation, man. Hey, that's me, Sergeant Hayden. Donald Hayden here, your host. Hey, first off, let's start by clicking that like, share, and subscribe, man. Don't take nothing to sit back and to just do those things. HBO special, help a brother out. Hey, man, first off, I like to say, well, first let me say this. Leave your comments under the YouTube. Leave the likes on the YouTube so they can get the rhythm up. This is not about payment. This is all about helping soldiers that will be in a situation that I was once in. I don't like seeing people go through things that I've been through. And this might alleviate a little bit of that, but I just pray and hope that a lot of people that listen to this take heed to the things that people come on here and share. Therefore, it brings me to this. I like to thank each and every last individual that took part in being with the Best Let's Talk family. I thank you. I appreciate you. I thank you for helping those individuals that it did help. I received text messages saying thank you, that really helped me, and or I appreciate that. I look forward to the next video. It kind of gives me a little bit of a boost. Most of the time, I can't even lie. I'll have in my head like that yin and yang. I'll think about quitting or not doing it, but when I hear somebody sit back tell me that you're doing a good job, I'm like, that even gives me more of a push. It gives me more of a purpose on the things that I need to do based upon the things that took place in my life. Hey, let's talk about some stats. I don't know how much to the left or the right the percentages are, but at the same time, the homeless among veterans is a real big thing in the city that I live in. Yeah, I'm in a military town, but I'm gonna say it's a huge number, not like tremendously huge, but it's a huge number of homeless people that I run across no matter where I go. They're veterans. It's a huge number of people that I run across and they're homeless and they're veterans. So I think in general, homelessness needs to somehow it needs to be something done from somebody. And is this a little bit of doing my part of helping, putting out a little bit of information to alleviate that, or switch the gears in your mind to do certain things before you get out of the military and while you're out of the military? I hope and pray that it is. Like employment is another thing. The percentages on that is very high, because we'll get out of the military thinking a lot of things. It'll either be, I have this job waiting for me when I get out, or you have the thoughts like, I'm going to apply for this job and I'm going to get this job because I'm such and such and I'm somebody. That's not all the time. First off, like with Ralph Avey, he talked about the whole thing of networking. And a lot of vets do that. Now the caveat, a lot of vets don't do the networking. They just get out and have they assume that because they held a status or they were deployed or they got all of these medals and achievements in the military that they're ahead of the line. And a lot of times that's not true. You got to get your ducks in a row. Networking, and it's individuals out there that have either physical or mental issues getting out, and they automatically think that they're going to be like 100% and they're going to be okay. But that's not necessarily true. You got to have your paperwork. Your paperwork has to line up with what you say and what's going on with you. Everything has to line up. I'm going to get out and I'm going to immediately start school. Start those things while you're in. Yeah, especially with the employment. Like, go to your ACAP. Go to your ACAP. I think that's something I might get on here and talk about by myself again. Is the resume portion, not breaking down how it looks, but what each resume means, like functional, federal. You know, like I didn't know certain things when I got out. I probably went to ACAP, signed in, and left. I'm giving a little bit of transparency. And those are the things that I did. And I'm telling you, this is why I started this podcast in order to help vets not do things that I've done. Now, I don't in my life now, I don't want a need for anything. I'm good, you know. But I'm trying to help somebody not be in a situation, you know. You stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. Now, it's a lot of soldiers that get out of the military that were in a particular rank that don't necessarily know the lingo of civilian life, or not necessarily that, don't know how to take commands from a person that's younger than them, or think they have no life experience. Is he right or is he wrong? If you have to listen to civilian sector, he's wrong. You take the lead from the person in charge. And you know, a lot of us probably sit back and think, "Oh, I got it all together. I was the first sergeant in this, and I think I can handle anything." Yeah, you know, sometimes our pride can kind of get away with actually what's going to take place or what you think is going to take place. You dictating things before. Just go ahead and nip that in the butt now. Take those classes that you need to take before you get out, as far as anger management or controlling things within self, as far as you being in that rank and that pride that comes with it. You know, suicide is something else I want to talk about. The 22, you know, that's a number that's thrown out there. I've seen the percentages, and it's also sat back and said 22 soldiers kill themselves a day, and that can either be left or right. You really don't know the true stats of that. But, okay, first I'm going to say this. Anytime you get on here, you talking about depression or PTSD, any type of, it's something dealing with trauma and like emotional damage, you will always get somebody on here talking about what took place. This is what I like to get on here and talk to a lot of people for therapeutic reasons. It's for myself, and I'm not going to sit here and lie, for myself as well. For somebody to get on here and talk about healing. Like, you don't hear too many people get on a social media forum and talk about the healing aspect of what you can dab into what's going on with you a little bit. Only like, you know, minute, just a little bit. But I want to know how you're healing. How are you coping? Like, when you seen that trigger and that trigger sat back and took place, how did you handle that? And what classes or what groups, you know, okay, it's a lot of people that can't go to groups. It's a lot of people that can't sit down and talk to a person about what's going on with them. Or it's and this is big, and I think it's big with a lot of VA claims. A lot of people don't necessarily know what to say about what's going on with them. So would that sit back and say there's nothing going on with them? I think that's the biggest thing. Like, you know, vets, let's talk. Let's have a conversation about some things. Let's talk. I might get on here a couple of more times and have a little conversation with myself on this thing. Because, you know, ain't nobody watching it but like one or two people. But, you know, but we gonna make it work, man. That one thumbs up does a lot. You know, just that one person telling me, hey, you doing good. That gives me a push. It's like I said, I may think about it sometimes, but at the same time, somebody, not a lot, but somebody sit back and say you're doing a good job and keep pushing. You know, that leads me into the support portion. You know, I had an individual jump on here and talk about that big time. Like First Sergeant Harold Hall, he said he had a support system in place. He had a support system in place, and I was like, that is important. At that point, it was in my mind, but I never really thought about it, how important it is to have somebody to have your back. Family, friends, mentors. It don't matter. Somebody, if things are not going as planned, things don't seem favorable, you have somebody to come either pat you on the back or smack you on your head and tell you, hey, things are going to be all right. Either or, however that may come across to you. If you get what I'm saying, man. Hey, man, we all here to grow together as a community. Even like, with civilians, I like a lot of this stuff to reach civilian ears. For one, to let them know what we go through. And for two, they might get something out of what we talk about as well. So, man, if you don't mind, go ahead, like, share, and subscribe. It don't take much. Leave the comments on the YouTube. I'm not demanding you to do anything. I'm not charging you. I'm just sitting back saying so I can get things kind of up there so the message can therefore get out a lot more. Talking about the transitional part, a soldier came up to me in the gym. He said, hey, man, when I saw you, I just sat back and thought I should start listening to your podcast. And it was a particular one that he listened to with Double M, Motivational Salvazar. You know who he is. Motivational Michael, Double M. Sorry about that. Oh, Sergeant Major. He talked about something about NCOs not really taking care of the soldiers that's about to transition out of the military, and they're not ready. A lot of those guys are not ready. Those E4 and below, sometimes E5s, like they might have something, but at the same time, they don't really have the support that they really need, being that low in the totem pole. But he said he had a situation with a soldier in which that he had to go handle some business as far as him getting out of the military. He had like probably a month ago. And he sat back and said he didn't really understand how much of his role as a leader played in his soldiers transitioning out of the military would help him. I said, yeah, that's kind of a huge part, because I was allotted a little bit of time, not much, not as much time as I wanted, even though there's a lot of things I didn't take advantage of. It was certain things as far as education that I took care of before I made sure that I took care of my education portion of me getting out, and my VA portion before getting out of the military, before I got out. But as far as paying attention to resume writing and how to talk to civilian employers in a job setting or going in for an interview, I didn't really pay attention to those things. And I think it's a lot of those things that we really need to sit back and pay attention to. Because as leaders, that means a lot for that soldier, because he can take a lot of things from that, because it's a lot of soldiers, a lot of NCOs, leaders that like to lead from the front. And there's a lot of soldiers, like NCOs, leaders that like to lead from the back. They like to sit back and watch and see you make your mistakes so you can learn from your mistakes. And but as leaders nowadays, they like to sit back and tell you what needs to be done. How does that fall into what I'm talking about? It goes with the whole thing of you one day will be the person that's sitting in a seat that has to take some type of charge from somebody else. You being up that high up in the totem pole, and that person is going to be that individual that's going to give you the hardest times that you have given your soldiers, as far as the things that you need to do with your personal life. we as people, you know, we have to come with something that's going to give us something. We have to go to something that's going to do something for us. If that makes any type of sense to somebody, I need you to explain that, Don. I'm not going to do that right now. But anyway, but I appreciate each and every individual for being on this show. I thank you guys for taking part of the Best Let's Talk family. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's a couple of more episodes that I might just jump on here. Oh, I forgot. Education. As far as getting out of the military, if that's something that you're trying to do, like this is something that I did and it was big, take full advantage of that. Take full advantage of it. Like use it all up if you could. Use up a lot of those benefits while you're in, as far as your education. Get your degree before you get out, if you can. If you can, you got a lot of downtime. I know you like to sit back and go party and go do your thing or whatever, but you need to take some time out to think about future. Not sit back and worry about what's present and what you need to do and who's going out getting jiggy with who. Like, you're gonna have time for that. I'm sorry to put the little break in what I was doing, but you're gonna have time to do all of that. What you need to worry about is how you're gonna take care of yourself while you're out, because you're sheltered right now. You're taken care of. Things are being afforded to you. You're allowed to maneuver the way you would like to maneuver. So, like, you got the post 9/11, you got the bulk rehab. I took advantage of both of them. And if I can go back to school and get my master's, I would. I'm going to try that, but I would. But anyway, I thank you guys for having an open ear to listening to the things that I have to say. Even at times it may not make sense, but thank you guys for taking the time. Please share, like, and subscribe. It don't take much. HBO special. Help a brother out. Who's up next for formation? It might be me again. Hey, it's Best Let's Talk. Thank you guys.